Okay, this is the homework check for the 4th grade group that is working on the Q3 standards now. So we're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to start with the bottom first. And we are working on fractions of wholes. It could be fractions of a group too. So in this group we have 8, and we want to see what is half of 8. So we can look at it as this is half of 8. And when we write that as a problem, it looks like this: 1/2 of 8. But I want to show you what's really going to happen behind the scenes here. We're going to replace the word of with a multiplication sign. And 8, we still want it to be 8, but we want to change it into a fraction. And the fraction that means 8 is 8 over 1. So we're going to change that as well. Now we just multiply straight across. We do 1 times 8 equals 8. And 2 times 1 equals 2. And so you can see this really means 8 divided by, because that's what that middle line means, 2 equals blank. And you can see we've got 4 wholes there. So the answer, half of 8, equals 4 wholes. Okay? Now we can go back up to the top. That's our new skill we're going to be focusing on for the week. And notice our first question says, what is the value? When it just says value, you're going to give a number value. So we look at this digit 9, we write that down. That 9 is really worth 90,000. It's in the 10,000s place. So it's the same as saying 9 times 10,000, and that will equal 90,000. The 8 on this side, however, watch this. You bring down everything as zeros each place. So this 8, it was in the millions place, so it is worth 8 million. Find the difference. That always means subtract. So let's get that lined up nicely. 1 minus 3, can't do it. Borrow. 11 minus 3 is 8. 3 minus 8, can't do that. Let's borrow. 13 minus 8 is 5. 7 minus 9, can't do it. Let's borrow. 17 minus 9 is 8. 2 minus 7, let's borrow. 12 minus 7 is 5, and 1 minus 0 is still 1. So 15,858. Finding the quotient, we know dividend divided by the divisor equals the quotient. So the divisor goes on the outside, and we like to stretch out our dividend. However, I'm looking at the 4 right now, and I know I can't get a group of 6 out of 4. So I'm going to put the 4 and the 3 together, because I'm going to have to look at 43. Okay, and then I'm going to stretch the rest out. I need an 8 with a space in front, and a 7 that also has a space in front. Let me get rid of my too much there. All right, so now we're making groups of 6. We're thinking of our 6 multiplication facts, and 6 can go into 43. We could make 7 groups. That would get us up to 42, wouldn't it? Because 6 times 7 is 42. That's a difference of 1. We bring the difference right up in front of the next digit, so now we're looking at 18. We can get 3 groups of 6 out of it, and that would equal 18 exactly, difference of 0. And to be consistent, if you want to put that 0 there, you can. How many groups of 6 can you get out of 7? Just 1, because 1 times 6 is 6. Now watch. We do have something left over. So the final answer, we bring what's left over up here and identify it as the remainder. That's what's remaining. 731 with a remainder of 2. All right, Nicholas has saved up $6,482 from his last 7 birthdays. Holy cow. If he gets the same amount every year for his birthday, how much money does Nicholas get on one birthday? I'm telling you what, he must have some rich relatives. I never got that much for my birthday, or anything for that matter. All right, so we're going to take this amount and divide it up among his 7 birthdays. So that means 7 is the divisor. And $6,482 is the dividend. So we are talking about money. I'm going to go ahead and put that here and go ahead and bring up a dollar sign. And I know I can't get a group of 7 just out of 6. So I'm going to go ahead and put the next digit with it. Okay? Draw my line. And I need an 8, but I also need a space in front of that 8 and a 2 and a space in front of the 2 in case we have some differences to carry over. Now we're thinking of our multiplication facts, our 7s. So how many groups of 7 could you get out of 64? Well, how about 9? Because 9 times 7 is 63. Subtract, we get a difference of 1. The difference comes up next to the next digit. So how many groups of 7 can we get out of 18? We can get 2 because 2 times 7 is 14. Subtract, we get 4. Bring that up. And look, it's going to come out evenly because 6 and 7 are best friends. 6 times 7 is 42. So the final answer here is $926. Now I do want to point out, if you'll notice, in each section, let me change colors so I can show you this. Here's a section, here's a section. We can only have one single digit in each section. Some of you have tried to put double digits, and you can only have, if you see our sections right here, we've got 3 sections. You can only have one digit on the top of each section. All right, now we have to complete the pattern. Before you can complete a pattern, you have to figure out the rule. It looks like it's going up each time. And some of our patterns can get really complicated, like multiplied by something and then minus on top of that, or multiplied by something plus some more. But this one, let's see, let's look. The jump from 67 to 57, that's going down, isn't it? I think I may have said it's going up. It's going down. So we're going to assume that it's subtraction. And look at the ones place each time. It's going down by 10 each time. So 37 take away 10 would be 27. And 27 take away 10 would be 17. All right, compare the fractions using, oops, I said compare. Greater than, less than, or equal to. And for each of these comparisons, we're going to do stacked rectangle drawings, okay? So on the top one right here, we're going to put the 4/5. We have to divide it into 5 pieces. I know one slice comes out of the middle, and I need 2 on each side of that, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep. And I get to color 4 of them. And we do their coloring from left to right. Now on the bottom one, we're going to do 3/7. So we have to divide it into 7 pieces, which is also odd. And I know a 7th is going to be smaller than my 5th was. Okay, and I need to have 3 on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, and I get to color in 3 from left to right. Now we can do our comparison, reading left to right. Okay, I'll get rid of my little extra drawings here. Now we're ready to actually read it left to right. So we would say 4/5 is blank than 3/7. Okay, so 4/5, you can see that's the top drawing. It is greater than the 3/7 that's on the bottom. Now let's move over to the right hand side here. And on this top one, we're going to do the 3/5. That means I have to divide it into fifths. It's an odd number, so I'm going to put 1 slice in the middle, then 2 on each side. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get to color in 3 of those from left to right. Okay, the bottom one I have to make into tenths though. So what I'm going to do just like I did on top with the fifths. But then to get 10, we have to split all of these pieces in half. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And I know that's not perfect, but that's close. And I get to color in 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can see which one's greater now. So now we're ready to read our comparison. 3/5 is less than 8/10. Okay, now we're ready for some adding and subtracting of mixed numbers. And we always start with the fractions column here. We've got 3/4 plus 3/4. That would give us 6/4. And 1 and 2 is 3. But we cannot leave this improper. And you may have seen that on some of your quizzes. If you left it improper with the numerator bigger than the denominator, that means you can pull one more whole out. We don't have 3 wholes. We actually have another one. And in fourths, it's a 4/4. So we're going to take 4/4 away from this. Add it to the whole, so now we have 4 wholes. And since we took 4/4 away from the 6/4, that leaves us with 2/4. However, this is not reduced, and you may have missed a point for that too on your tests. There's a better way to say 4 2/4. 2/4 is the same as 1/2. So if you half of 2 is 1, half of 4 is 2. So 4 1/2 is really the best answer. Okay, now let's take a look. I'll get this out of the way here. Let's take a look at our subtraction. Now, just like in regular subtraction, there are times when we have to borrow if we don't have what we need. So let's look at the fractions column first. It says 1/3, take away 2/3. So can't do that. I'm going to have to borrow a whole. So I don't have 3 wholes anymore. I have 2. And a whole in thirds is 3/3. I have to add that to the 1/3 I already had. So now I actually have 4/3. Okay, now 4/3 minus 2/3 is 2/3. And 2 minus 1 is 1. And this truly is the best way to say it, 1 2/3. One more to go. Jonathan went to Publix with his mom. That's kind of like a big grocery store. They have them down south. They bought 1/8 of a pound of almonds, 2/8 of a pound of cashews, and 5/8 of a pound of walnuts. How many pounds of nuts did Jonathan and his mother purchase? So here's what we're going to do. We are going to add all of these together. The 1/8, and since it is adding, I can go horizontal, plus 2/8 plus 5/8. That all worked out nicely. We have eighths. Those are easy to add as long as we have the same denominator. So 1 plus 2 plus 5 equals 8. So we have 8/8, which is equivalent to 1 pound. Okay, so they bought 1 pound of all these different types of nuts together. And that's it for today.